Hey, all
Hi,
good.
how are
Good evening.
you?
How are you?
Very, very well. So good to see you live after a very short while, but I'm coming on live with
Right,
you for the first
right.
time.
And thank you so much. Thank you, people, for joining us.
No,
So let's give some time so
so
that
we
people
have,
can join us. It's a very, very special
yeah,
day,
yeah,
very
yeah, sure,
special
sure,
live,
sure.
and very special topic.
Absolutely. I agree. And one of my
Yes, yes,
favorites too.
yes. Hi, Snehal. Hi, Simran. Hi, Yash.
So we still have people
Yes,
joining
yes.
in. So how is it in Delhi, swapping and so do you guys swap
Yeah,
very
yeah.
often over
We
there?
do sometime. There is a large group over here. And
Nice. Oh, great.
hello.
Hi, Simran.
Hi, Raju. I guess we should start on time. So let me formally start this call.
Absolutely.
Let me formally welcome you, Kritika. So
Thank you so
good
much.
evening, everyone. And as I said, this is a very, very special day today. Today's 7/7 portal energy is so high today. And we have a very special topic today and a very special guest on this Insta Live who is going to talk on this amazing topic of relationship with our kids. So I know Kritika from around 2 years now. We have done a lot of classes from our common mentor, the magician Dr. Ashish Narankar, and I know Kritika and I admire her a lot, and I get inspired from her on a day-to-day basis because
Oh my
I
gosh,
keep her
thank
saying that
you.
she is actually working on herself, not only a one aspect, but what I recall on all the aspect of her life, be it physical health, mental health, spiritual health, or emotional health. She is an access bars a
Yeah, I agree.
facilitator, access body practitioner. She is a shamanic healer, a psychic medium. She is an expert in tarot card reading and crystal ball gazing. Yes,
Those are my favorites.
yes, yes. And over and above all this, she is a fabulous mother of a beautiful angel, and she is raising her kid with a lot of grace and love. So I see her. She is
Yeah,
one of the best person whom I could have invited for this topic. The topic is relationship with our kids. How can we nurture our kid? How can we empower our kid so that they become confident when they grow up and they excel and they thrive in their life. So thank you, Kritika, for joining us.
and no, thank you so much. And I'd also like to add when you said confident, I would also like that our children should grow up to be more conscious
Right.
beings because with the amount of consciousness
Correct.
that's rising all over the universal consciousness, I think it's time that the kids have to be, kind of groomed or have to be brought up in an atmosphere and an environment where we pay more attention to the consciousness of theirs rather than
Right.
just one aspect. I mean, coming from a background, Punjabi, born, brought up here, it's a very, and I don't mean to do this to any Punjabi, but I know how households work. So I know that it's a little difficult because, your
Right.
parents can be like forceful on you and, they try to live
Correct. Correct.
their dreams through you,
And
but
in our generation, this is very
that
normal.
doesn't work in the long run. Yeah, and I think it doesn't work
Right.
in the long run eventually also. So, like for the long, take me for example. I'm not even going to reach out anywhere else. So, I studied law, okay, because of course I was so inspired by my granddad and I had to be the achiever child of the house and all of that I did. But am I doing law today? So, what did I do eventually? If I would have just spent those many years, uh, probably,
Right.
learning more skills or developing my psychic abilities, I would have probably been very different today than what I am. No regrets, of course. Maybe that was a part of my journey. Maybe
Correct.
I
Correct.
chose that path to grow. But I still feel that, if your parents have that thing, and not that my parents forced me to do this, but if the level of consciousness between me and them, the connect over there would have been a little different, I think I wouldn't have done what I did in terms of my schooling or in terms of my education. And that's the first thing parents
Right.
kind of pay attention to, because of course हमको हमारा बच्चा डॉक्टर इंजीनियर एंड पैसे
Right. Right.
कमाने वाला बच्चा चाहिए, because of course पैसे पेड़ पे नहीं उगते, right? That's what we've been
Right.
taught. But I think Shailendra will agree that पैसे पेड़ पे उगते हैं, because Access tells you पैसे हर जगह उगते हैं. So I think that's what we need to tell our kids more than what
Correct.
we
Correct.
tell them today.
And I agree to your point completely, because the kind of environment I have grown up is basically our parent. They loved us so much that they didn't realize that their love has created a limitations for us. And instead of we going all out and do whatever we want in life, we started judging ourselves, or we started looking up to someone whom we actually were not inspired with, but because someone in the family was doing that particular thing, so we decided, okay, let me also become an engineer. I became a computer engineer.
Of course, blind love. No, my term to that is very simple. Blind love.
Correct.
Andhadhun
Correct.
pyar. That's it. It's like father is doing this. So my father has been my idol all my life. Okay. So I idealized my father like he cannot do anything wrong. Till the time I got Access and I realized, and
Right.
of course then my healing journey took place. I have so many father wounds. I mean, I have mother wounds as well, but of course that was just a part of me growing up, and every child takes things and perceives things differently. So when I went into inner child is when I realized that नहीं भैया, कहीं ना कहीं उनको pedestal से
Right.
नीचे उतारना पड़ेगा. As much as I love him, as much as I respect him, I have to also have something of my
Correct.
own. And where is that going to come from? If it doesn't come from within me, I can't expect my
Right.
dad's approval. As much as I would like that he validates it, वो थप्पा लगा दे that she's the best. But of course, that thappa will come if I will call myself the best, right? And where does that come from? Knowing what we've done, it has to
Correct.
come from within us. And how will we know it has to come from within us? Of course, when we'll
Exactly.
empower ourselves. So the first thing I do want to share with all you mothers and fathers, and if you're not yet and you're going to become, please empower your
With
children
choices.
with choices. Rather than thopoing and telling them कि बेटा घर में तो business है तो तू businessman बन जा, and तेरे भाई ने तो engineering करी है तू भी यही कर ले. So I think if you really empower them with choices specifically to do with career, it gives them a broader perspective and it opens them up, because we're all infinite beings. If there are finite beings here, clearly you're not going to understand what Shailendra and me are saying. But I assume all of us are
Right.
infinite beings. And if you're infinite beings, you definitely have to have more choices. And that I'm saying as have to, but you don't really have to go by my have to. But yeah, you just need to have like a whole buffet. If you don't have a buffet, तो भाई फिर यहीं रुके रहोगे, and then your
Correct.
growth is going to be limited. So that's like the first thing that I have learned through Access is
Right.
just choices. Simple choices. The choice can be right, wrong, doesn't matter
Correct.
who's going into the right and wrong. The first thing is that you have to at least choice banane
Exactly.
layak, so you have to reach.
Right.
You have to be able to make a choice, right? And if you're not going to be able to do that, then you will go into the right, wrong, good, bad, ugly, beautiful, whatever else. So that's been my first
Right.
take
Right.
from
And this is
Access.
a very powerful line which you have just spoke, and it is very important for all the parents in today's era. uh, be free and give choices to your kid. Let them choose. Let them fall down, and help them that they can get up and then they can run back. So until unless you give choices,
हेल्प भी यार शैलेंद्र, हेल्प भी इंडिया में नहीं करनी चाहिए.
I
बच्चा
know.
खुद उठ जाएगा, पक्का उठ जाएगा. नहीं तो हेल्प के चक्कर में. So Ashish, I think, just put up the reel also very recently. I think yesterday or day before, I was hearing him where he was saying
Exactly.
blame game. Parents play this blame game. Very easy thing that we
Yes.
do is we play a blame game, or we play good
Correct.
cop, bad
Correct.
cop in our houses. Okay, but there's no need to play these games with your children. There's
Exactly.
genuinely no need. If you genuinely just tell the child, so I have a 4-year-old. Unfortunately, she's not around right now because she's gone with her grandparents outside. But if she falls or if she gets hurt, she cries. But I don't go telling
Right.
her, oh my God, what happened? And oh, kaise ho gaya? Just tell her it's
Okay.
okay, you fell down. The choice is yours. You want to get up or you still want to keep sitting down and crying. The
Exactly.
choice is yours, right? There are 20,000 number of times she throws tantrums and in the worst places ever. But I don't
Right.
fall in her trap. So that's where you mothers need to be smart And you actually need to tell her the choice is yours. You want to come enjoy with us, or you still want to throw a
Exactly.
tantrum.
And
I'm sure the child doesn't want to continue throwing a tantrum. The child will say, I might as well enjoy.
exactly.
नहीं तो वो भी चला
And this
जाता.
has happened almost with everyone in this world, that the kids are throwing tantrum and these people start convincing them, and then they started blaming the mother earth or someone else for their fault. But now, because before empowering our kid, we need to empower ourselves. We need to be mentally strong,
I
because
agree.
हम बहुत टाइम emotions में बह जाते हैं. So we need to control our emotions, and we need to let them who they are actually. And
Absolutely. And you also need to let yourself be
correct.
the mother you are, no? Why are you falling into the thing of what the other person is doing? The other person may be parenting the way the other person has to. But maybe you you've probably, raised your level of consciousness. Maybe you are a more aware being. You raise your child with that level of
Correct.
awareness that you have. Eventually, your child
Correct.
chose you. So definitely the
Right.
frequency match there. Now, what's the point of saying, "Baju wale ke ghar mein kya ho raha," and I'll do the same thing? Like, this is a thing going on here. Uh, someone's going for a phonics class, someone's going for some coaching class. जोन भर के बच्चे उस पूरी
Correct.
सोसाइटी में से वहीं जाएंगे, because of course we believe in the
Exactly.
भेड़ चाल mentality, right? Like, everybody has to go where everybody is going. Nobody wants to do anything different because
Correct.
you think you're going to be
Correct.
judged. So the other thing that I have to tell you is, stop judging. अपने आप को नहीं करोगे तो बच्चा भी
Exactly.
नहीं जज करेगा, because you're judging yourself, so the child is also
Exactly.
judging him or herself by saying that, maybe what's happening is कि वो ऐसे कर रहे हैं, मैं नहीं कर रहा तो मैं गलत, because जो अलग जाएगा
Exactly.
वो ही गलत होगा. The one who's separate is never going to say I'm right. And firstly तो उसकी मम्मी बोलेगी, बेटा तेरे में प्रॉब्लम कि तू उस क्लास में नहीं जा रहा. So of course it's coming from the
Right. Right.
parent, right? So that's where I think the second most important thing that we all need to really, understand or rise above is, stop
Correct.
following what the world is doing. If you feel something is right for yourself,
Exactly.
do it. It's not, stop, don't boil yourself, don't put this burden on your shoulder that I have to do the right thing.
Exactly.
It's okay if you do a wrong thing. Because a choice, if you're making a choice, right and wrong doesn't matter. It can be a choice that worked for you, it can be a
Work for
choice
you,
that
right?
didn't work
So
for you.
what? Another choice.
As simple. Marriage mein to you don't. Marriage to people are not sticking to
It's a
it.
very,
They are
very
breaking
touchy
it off
topic,
so
marriage.
easily. Right? Okay. Where is my example? Not fitting here. People don't want to stick into marriages because they now feel I made a choice which is not
Right.
working for me. So same way, even the kids can make a choice that's working for
Correct.
them and
Correct.
it's not working for them. So why do we have to pressurize them कि तूने सही
Exactly.
choice क्यों नहीं बनाई? मैं तो
Right.
तेरे को बोला था यही कर. अरे यार, अब doesn't matter. Life is so long and there's such a long journey you have to complete. You will boil the child down, the child will get into judgment, then the child will go to the wrongness, and the game begins. Then you go send the child look for therapists like us, then we come and do the work with the
Exactly.
child.
Exactly.
So I mean that's where it begins. So that's another thing that I use it from now with my little one, and I think it does
Yes.
help
Yes.
her
Yes.
also.
And what happens is actually when we impose our thoughts to our kids, we are limiting them, obviously, and we are not helping them grow in their own way. We want them to become the way we thought, or our parent thought that we should be like them. We are now trying to replicate the same thing on our kids. So instead of doing that, if we let them go free and don't judge for what they are choosing, it would definitely boost up their confidence. And I guess I was in the
I agree.
same shoes, and I used to empower. I used to overpower my kid. I used to force him to study, to go, to rise up early in the morning, follow all the schedules. But when I started learning about access or different therapies, I understood that's not going to work in a longer period of time. I need to change my attitude. I need to change my approach toward my kid. And if I want to create a healthy relationship, a relationship which will last till my death, I need to empower him. I need to set him free. And then from that time onward, I have
Absolutely.
seen a lot of changes in my kid also. Once I decided, I changed.
Absolutely. See, because see, I'll tell you, children. So up till the age of 8 years. So I'll just quickly go through this. 0 to 8 is a very important period for children where they're only picking up things specifically to do with their mothers. Okay. 8 to 15 is the period where they're looking at the male
Father.
energy. So
Yes.
it's the father. Okay. Then again, after 15, it changes. Then the boy will look at the father and the girl will look at the mother, because 15 to 21 again is that period where a lot of changes taking place physically, emotionally, always. So you become a little more gender centric, right? But in overall, if I have to put this whole 0 to 8, 8 to 15, and 15 to 21 in one chain, all through, if you just keep your child empowered with one simple
Right.
thing, which is choices,
Right.
and giving the child freedom. Okay, now I'm not saying if the child is doing something which is going to harm the child, if it's going to be wrong for the child, tell the child, nahi, I'm giving you a choice. Karna hai to kar liye, nahi karna hai to. I'm
Right.
not saying
Right.
that.
Right.
But of course, I'm just saying
Correct.
conscious, aware choices. You need to tell the child. And of course, if the child still doesn't listen, then you will have to use in some force. I'm not saying go spoil your child's health. Like, for example, Nasanaita, that's
Yeah.
my little one. She's 4, okay? Uh, there was a time that she used to really fall sick. And it's common for babies to keep falling sick because they go to school, they come back, they catch infection. Now, when you tell her you've fallen sick and you can't do this, so you can't, like if I even try saying this, you can't
Okay.
do this, Ananta, because you've fallen sick. So she'll tell me, so do MTVSS. So I'm just looking at her face and she's looking at my face. Like, yeah, Sanata, I can do MTVSS. So that's one of the
Exactly.
processes in Access, which is for physical
Correct.
healing, right? So she already knows
Yes.
that healing will happen. So by you telling me don't do something is not going to help. You heal me, I can still do it. Because now the child is already empowered enough that she knows that I have a
Exactly.
choice. Either I
Exactly.
can crib about my health or I can just tell mommy to
Right.
heal me and still go out and
Right.
play. राइट सो दैट वे मेरा भी पर्पस सॉल्व हो गया मुझे उसको हील करना है ना अब मैं दवाई देके दूं कि मैं उसको एमटीवीएसएस दूं कि मैं उसको कुछ भी दूं द पॉइंट इज शी नीड्स टू बी फाइन राइट and that's being done that the problem
Right,
is
right.
being solved.
And this remind me one thing, one of the incident which happened with my kid when initially I learned all these things, access bars and different healing modalities. I started with MTVSS and I started giving MTVSS to my kid also, and he realized the power of it. And one day he went to his school and then he came back and he said, Dad, you know what happened today? One of my friend, he was having a stomach ache, and I asked him, "Let me touch your uh, stomach." And
Stomach.
then he said, "Why? What are you going to do?" He said, "Okay, just believe on me, and then let me touch your stomach." And then he did a MTVSS process for around 2 minutes, and that other kid, he felt relieved, and then he said, "Oh, तूने क्या मैजिक किया यार, मैं ठीक हो गया." And then he said, "Okay, घर आके पापा मैंने अपने
Yeah.
दोस्त को ठीक कर दिया."
Yeah, so see, the
Exactly.
child doesn't have a point of view, right? The child knows it's magic.
Correct.
Papa said magic. I believe in
Right.
magic, and I'm going forward, right? It's it's the same thing. You don't have to, like. I'm not saying go out telling the child I'm doing this. You
Right.
don't need to go naming the process. Just tell the child it's magic, and magic is going to heal you. The child will get it because eventually it's the point of
Reality.
view that
Correct.
creates your reality. That's the first thing that we've learned in Access. It's your point of view
Correct.
that creates your reality. So if you have a point of view that magic doesn't work, your child
Exactly.
is going to believe magic doesn't
Exactly.
work. Eventually, child is learning
Exactly.
from you only. And moving forward from there, like coming to the main thing that we do in Access, which
Yes.
is Access bars, kids receive Access bars the fastest. So if you and me need a whole session of 1 or
Right.
1.5 hours, a child just
Correct.
needs 30
Lesser
minutes,
than that.
sometimes even
Yes.
lesser than that. So my 4-year-old, when gets fever or something, and if I run her bars, 15 minutes. She's done. She's knocked out. She's in another zone. She's sleeping. I'm not stressed. She slept off. I know that the fever's going to come down. And that's the whole
And
purpose of using
my
these
son
tools.
started.
So actually,
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
all of this helps. All of this helps. I don't see the reason in how access is limited to only a few things. So I am even going to, at the end of the session, give the access questions for parents
Wow.
who are on the live, which the parents can use for their children. And if your kids are old enough, the kids can also use the same questions. So when you ask questions, you're basically
Right.
empowering the child to not go into the logical
Correct.
thinking of an answer, but opening up
Right.
possibilities for the child, right? So, for example, the child is not studying and the child is saying, "Mujhe nahi padhai karni, exam, I don't want to do this." The normal
Exactly.
cribbing story in every house, I'm sure. As a parent, you can say, you can ask a question that what will it take for me to be a catalyst of change in my
Okay.
child's life, that the child studies and gets the
Cool.
desired result. If your child is
Right.
old enough to say this question, then the child can just say, what will it take for studies to become fun for me and remember and recollect so that I can perform in my exam.
Cool.
So now this is only opening, and now the child is not going to wait for like answer yes and no to
Yeah.
come. But basically, the child now thinks more than what the
Exactly.
child would be thinking. उसने सोचा होगा कि मैं एग्जाम के टाइम पे फन कर सकता हूँ, वो बोलेगा मम्मी मारेगी अगर मैंने एग्जाम के टाइम पे
Right. Right.
फन बोला तो, right? But if you just
Correct.
make it more lighter for them, because eventually whatever is light will work,
Exactly.
whatever is heavy is
You need
not
to
going to work.
understand the essence of these questions, not literally get into the answer of all those things.
Absolutely. Because see, the question is not,
Exactly.
I'm saying what will it take? So there is no yes and no,
Right.
and there
Right.
is no right and wrong. The what will it take for me to be a catalyst of change? Now it could take me 3 glasses of wine, bloody hell, I don't care. but the point is that I have still opened up my possibilities, right? Now I may want to teach my child dancing and I may not want to teach my child the
Right.
regular way. So I have a friend,
Okay.
okay, whose son goes to a school and they did spellings with the child. This child is in, I think, class 1 or something, okay? And the child got a 0 on 10 in spellings because the child knew nothing, okay? And the child says, मुझे ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा है जो teacher समझा रहे हैं, because the teacher is doing phonic sounds and telling
Okay.
spellings with
Okay.
phonic sounds. Okay, now this child didn't understand phonic sounds because mother is not
Right.
doing phonics at home. So the father then said, I'll do my simple Purana method, rote learning. ये APPLE, bol, lick, and kar. Next day, I mean, next week, the child had the same test and the child got a 10 on 10.
Amazing.
So ठीक है यार, phonics didn't work for that child because phonics नहीं
Right.
समझ में आया उसको. ना नहीं समझ में आया तो वो बच्चा dumb हो गया क्या?
Right. Right.
The child is a very smart child. I mean, I know the child personally. The child is not
Exactly.
dumb. Phonics didn't connect in that one's brain. It's okay. Maybe that one remembers only rote learning. Maybe that one thinks only ratta maro and jao. It works for me. So do what works for you, right? Because that's going to make you
Correct.
feel lighter
And this
eventually.
is not the traditional way of teaching your kid, but when you have asked the question, something showed up, some idea showed up in your mind, and you started following your heart, and you started.
Now see, that friend doesn't
Exactly.
know access. He just said he just thought that how can I, or what will it take for me to make this more fun for this child so that this child doesn't feel
Exactly.
burdened with spellings. He
Yes.
just thought to himself. He's not done access and he's not like, I'm going to ask this kind of a question. But the fact that he had an awareness about it, it worked. So there could be a lot of people here who
Exactly.
haven't done access at all. But the fact that, we're having this discussion or this conversation here is only to tell you that if you think a little differently, and if you think a little more with awareness, you definitely can change
Right.
and make things much more
Right.
lighter
Right.
for your child.
And if you do access or not do access, but the question that Kritika has just shared on this live, those questions are very powerful. If you have a notebook, write those down and just keep on asking those questions to you on a regular basis and see what happens, what magic shows up in your life. And when something shows up, just be grateful to that thing, and then you will realize the potential or power of asking question. It's basically when you ask a question, you
Absolutely.
are emitting a thought, you are emitting a frequency to a universe, and universe is responding by matching the similar frequencies back to you, and it could come in any way, and most probably it would come in a way that you have never ever imagined.
I agree. Like, for example, like, I don't think the father thought he
Exactly.
should do rote learning because, of course, the father is like my age or maybe a few years older than me. Definitely doesn't believe in, like, a traditional way of learning. But eventually, he realized that the child will only stick to this because the child has
Exactly.
probably seen only this. The child hasn't been exposed to anything else. Maybe the mother was not doing phonics at home or whatever, and maybe phonics was not making sense, was not fun for him. So, and eventually the child is the example I'm talking about. He's
Okay.
only about 6 years. So, a 6-year child is only exposed to whatever the parents are doing at home. And I think that just was okay. I mean, this worked for him, and it kind of helped and gave him the results. So
Right.
I think that was absolutely fine. But eventually, what the point here is, you've rightly said it. It's about asking questions. It's about opening up more possibilities. It's about looking at things at a wider perspective rather than,
Correct.
just going the conventional way and going by the book and then making it a burden for your child. Because here, what we're saying is we don't want to
Correct.
burden your child more. The child is already burdened. Today admissions are difficult. Today everything's becoming so it's more of a headache than it's fun or a parenting process. It's like parenting itself has become
Exactly.
one. In Delhi, Sharindra knows how
more
bad it
more
is.
than kids,
It's
parents
more of
are
a shosha.
having a lot of stress. They are always worried
हाँ शोशा है ना,
about their studies,
सबको
about
दिखाना
their
है.
sport, about their health, about their career, about their future. So,
Absolutely. Because, see, now the child is eventually also going to
exactly.
get the same thing. Because
Exactly.
what are you talking at home? Stress, stress, burden, burden. You have to do better. You have to do this. So all the time the child thinks it's a burden. Then that's why the child thinks you have to struggle. If you don't
Yes.
struggle, then there's no money
Yes.
in life. If you don't do this, then there's nothing. But actually, because we've never, parents don't know na ease
Exactly.
honi chahiye life mein. Technically, life is
And glory.
ease, joy, glory. But what we think life is struggle, stress, rat race, competition. There's enough for everybody in this universe. I don't think competition lies. So today, two access bias facilitators are talking together. I don't see a competition here. He's in
Exactly.
Delhi, I'm
Exactly.
in Pune.
And
It's
and I,
fine. I mean, you can come to
exactly.
Pune if you want
And
at
I never
times.
felt that we could have any kind of competition with anyone because this world is huge. There is a lot of abundance around us. Means I have personally recommended a lot of people to you, and I never told you. And
Yeah.
similarly, I have received the people from your side. I got a call from a lot of people that I got your number from Kritika, and okay, I said, okay, tell me how
Yeah.
can I help you?
Yeah, but it's okay, right? Because eventually there's
Exactly,
enough for everyone. There is enough for everyone in this world. You just need to reach the right place and you will get it. It's all about sending out your energy, your ask, and the universe will answer to you. I haven't yet come across a situation in my life, at least in the past 3 years after I've got into this entire field, that my answers haven't come, or maybe they've come slow. I'll accept it. Maybe they've come slow, maybe they've come delayed, but that doesn't mean it wasn't working
yes,
out. If something was delayed, it's because just because you can't see
exactly,
it doesn't mean it's not happening. Okay, delay is because the universe is working and खाना बना रहा है, बेस्ट खाना बना के आपको प्लेट पे देना
exactly,
चाहता है. So that's why it's taking time. But otherwise, I don't think ऐसा कभी हुआ है that I'm using the tools that I've learned, I'm doing what I should be doing, and I've not
exactly,
got the results. Even today, there are so many of
exactly,
my manifestations that are there on paper, and I know that they're in the oven, they're being baked, and definitely they're going to come out very nice, fresh, with all icings and toppings on it, and it's all going to be really nice. Reason being, of
exactly,
course, you have to have that faith and belief also. You just have to have that trust that the
exactly.
universe is going to work out for you. Surrender the same way, surrender for your kids. Your kids are going to do well in life. ऐसा कोई बच्चा नहीं है तुम बोलोगे कि तू लारी खोलेगा पर ऐसा
Right,
नहीं होगा. If the child has been educated well, everything has been done, the child will make the money. And अगर लारी भी खोल रहा है, trust me वो
exactly.
पैसे तो कमा ही रहा है,
And this
right?
is one of the very key component of a growth mindset.
कि interest
That
का है maybe.
a person
Yeah.
who is having a growth mindset, he always believes in abundance. When you were just talking, I got reminded by one of the incident which happened weeks ago. I would like to just share it in very short.
Sure.
Uh, I have a balcony and I have decorated my balcony with some plants and flower, and I have also kept a bird feeder over there. So I put food and then water for the birds, and there are a lot of pigeons in my society, and there are three beautiful, amazing white doves, and all these three
Wow.
doves, they keep on coming to my balcony and they eat food from my bird feeder and they drink, and when we see them we take a picture, make a video, and we love it. And eventually my whole family has fallen in love with those three
Fun.
doves. Now last week what happened, these gray pigeons they came, Okay, and they started fighting with these doves and they flew them away and they started eating the food. Now, what happened is my wife's instant reaction was to flew these gray pigeons away so that white can come back. And what happened surprised both of us. My son said, "Mama, if bird feeder हमने birds के लिए रखा है, so why do you only want white dove to come and have food with us? Let everyone come and have the food." So when these words came from my
I
son,
love
it
him.
it actually amazed us, and it was an instant realization for both of us. And then we realized and we thanked our son. Okay, thank you so much for making us realize that this nature doesn't differentiate between people or between a gray or a white. So why we are doing it? Why we are doing
I
it?
agree.
And
I
and
agree.
I got a
Yeah,
very
that's
strong
because
feeling.
you want only the white pretty doves ना वो grey वालों
Exactly,
को कौन
exactly.
देखेगा?
And this gave me a thought. Later, I realized that if he is growing with this mindset, I'm sure the future of this country would be bright because these kind of kids who don't judge anyone, okay, they will not create any kind of differentiation among the people based on their color or their creed or their caste or their religion or their region. They will have a mindset of abundance that there is enough for everyone and universe is helping everyone. So why to differentiate and
I
why to
agree.
create differences between us? Let's all have a magical life or lots a cooperative life. Let everyone enjoy it. When I see my
I agree
childhood,
because
I was grown up with lot of Tashal, like that person is that, he's Pandit, he is this, he is that, and
डंडा
then
डंडा
he is bad, he is good. So I felt very good.
बेटा बगल वाले शर्मा जी के बेटे के
Correct,
मार्क्स
correct,
देखो तुम्हारे
correct.
मार्क्स देखो.
The typical dialogue from all the parents. But when these type of
I
incidents
am
happen
sure.
with my kid, I really thank God and I really thank to myself also that I started changing and eventually subconscious level it is working on my kid's mind also.
So just imagine you did access, but it reached your
Exactly,
son faster than you.
exactly.
Yeah, but that happens because, like I said in the beginning of this life,
They don't
kids
have
don't have a point
any
of
point of
view.
view,
So
right?
whatever you give them, whatever you feed them with,
Exactly.
that's what they're going to grow with. So if you're going to empower them with choices, they'll grow up believing that choices is
Exactly.
the real way to move forward. If you go with them with that point of view that there's no point of judging people or
Right.
judging yourself to begin with, they'll never judge themselves. They'll believe in themselves for what they truly are, because most of us don't even believe in what we are. We believe in what the other person is first saying. बाहर वाला approval दे देगा, बाहर वाला validate
Correct.
करेगा, तो we'll say yeah, we are good, right? And then, like you just said, the growth mindset, the third main, I mean, there's no hierarchy to this, but the third point that we discussed was about
Exactly.
having a growth mindset. This competition, rat race, getting into killing each other, walking over each other, it's not going to make you
Anyway,
reach
right.
anywhere, because eventually you
Exactly.
will go where you have to go. Whether you go this way or you go this way,
Exactly.
जहाँ पहुंचना है, you will reach. But what's more important is your journey
Right.
to that place, right? Now, you want to make that journey more fun or do you want to make it more
Exactly.
stressful? That choice is yours.
Exactly. And this is a wonderful discussion that is going between us, and I am really enjoying it. And we are over limit, but I would take 5 more minutes from you, and we would like to discuss for those kids who are suffering from certain situations, like they are under fear or under trauma or
Okay.
any kind of judgment they have taken up, and then they are not able to cope up with that. So how does access can
Right.
help these kind of people or these kind of kids uh, to come out of certain situations which are not so empowering or which are taking them on their lower uh, range, right? So
Right.
how can access help, or do you have any kind of
So the
like
first thing, yeah, so the first thing that, from the experience and from what I've dealt with children, I'd say the
run
first
their
thing is
bars?
run their bars,
Right.
right? Because whatever that they have, what they have perceived, what they have now solidified, and what they have taken and put into themselves, like made a belief system of that, bars will
Right.
really help release all of
Right.
that. And if it's trauma, for sure, bars will definitely help release trauma. With bars, there are certain access
Okay.
body processes, which on a personal
Right.
level, you can connect with me and I'll definitely help with,
Yeah.
you know, the specific body processes
Yes.
because on the live,
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
not
I
allowed to,
understand.
you know, kind of share all the technical terms. But definitely on a personal note, I'll definitely share with you as to what body processes can be
Yeah.
run on these children. And you have plenty of
Right.
them in Delhi
Yes.
as well, the body process facilitators and practitioners. So, you know, people can run those body processes, and that really helps on the physical,
Right.
emotional, mental, at all levels. So, access bars or body processes will help at all levels in your life. It's not just a physical healing that takes place; it will be a holistic healing, or a healing
It's
is actually the wrong
a
word
therapy.
here because
Correct.
it's the change that will start, that will set in into the child's body, right? And that will start showing in the mental or the emotional development as well. So that's the first thing that we recommend, that you do run
Okay.
the bars. And of course,
Right.
if it's like trauma and if it's, you know, some like for example, it's some
Yes.
physical
Yes.
abuse or something like that, we have separate
Right.
processes
Right.
for that that can be done, and that really helps. And you won't even know how fast it works on children. I may tell you, you know, you need to go in for like a couple of sessions or whatever, but maybe the child might just receive it in one go because it's on the openness of the child as to how much the child can receive, right? It's not on who's giving it. It's not on who you're taking the process from. It's on the receiver, right? If the receiver is going to receive it like this, it's going to just change the person's mindset
Exactly.
and mentality and
Exactly.
release everything uh, in one session itself. That's one thing that we do. The second thing is the parents need to be
Yes.
then empowered, right? The parents need to then go in for some form of counseling and sessions where the parents have to be spoken to empower them with certain tools that they can use with this child then. Because then this child needs different handling. This child cannot be dealt on a regular basis and cannot be, you know, just pushed around and thrown around because that child needs a different level of care, different level of emotional
Right.
touch. All of
Right.
that is required, right? So, like for
Yes.
example, if you have somebody with ADHD or something, you definitely need to teach the child very differently, with a lot of care, with a lot of peace and calmness in you. Because if your levels of anger and frustration are going to rise, that
Correct.
child is only going to be all over the place. Like that's just one example I'm giving, but of course there are different things. Like a common thing that's happening today with children is
Okay.
mirror imaging. You know, when they're learning to write, they are
Right.
doing mirror imaging, okay, and then aage jaake they are termed as dyslexic, okay. But actually, if you actually teach this child in a different way, where you tell this child, you talk to the child differently, you don't make it a burden that, you know, ye likhna galat ho raha hai, and then you don't use these negative words, that's where access comes in.
Okay.
Because you ask different questions. You put the statement in a very different way. And of course, the last thing is the all of life comes to you with ease, joy, and glory, and the affirmations or the statements that we have in access. When you use those with them, that's it. Magic just has to happen because I don't see the magic not happening because I've seen it with my own experience. So my child is born with a lot of difficulty. The child came at seventh month, and the child was away from the mother
Yeah.
for 1 month, and she was in the NICU, and there were a lot of other things that were going on. So this child actually is born with the insecurity and the fear of
Okay.
losing her mother because the child did not get the mother, right? Now I had to deal with her in the first 2 years
Okay.
very differently. I couldn't see, either I would become the normal one and say, I'll not give my child to anybody and become an insecure freak, which I did for a couple of months. And that's when access actually came into my life. And that's when I realized that the problem lies in me. The problem doesn't lie in the child. The child has perceived something because of something that took place in her life. Now, if I'm going to repeat the same thing with her, she's going to only get that energy from
Right.
me.
Right.
And this Shailendra, happened in
Exactly.
our access class itself. The first time ever that I left Sanayata
Okay.
home alone was when I stepped into
Okay.
my
Okay.
foundation class, 5 days,
Yes.
because those days it was a 5 day class. And I started crying in the middle of the class because I got a call from my in law saying she's throwing up, she's not feeling well, you're 2 hours away, you need to come back, and you know, all of that. And I was like, oh my God, Ashish, I think I have to leave this class, I have to go. He said, calm down, what's the problem? The problem is you. I don't think the problem is her. And I said, the problem is me? ये क्या बोल दिया इसने? मैं तो इतनी अच्छी मम्मी हूँ, मैं तो सब कुछ कर रही हूँ. How can you say the problem is me? Like I got very
Uh-huh.
offensive and you know all of that. Then he facilitated irritated me, and he said, how much and where all are you
Correct.
holding on to yourself? This separation anxiety,
Right.
insecurity, fear of losing her. And that, it just cleared immediately for me. And when it cleared for me, believe it or no, next hour
Yeah.
when we had the tea break,
She
I
was all
called them and
fine.
asked them, is she okay? And they were like, yeah, she's absolutely fine. She's playing. Don't worry, don't worry. I was like, yeah, don't worry. Pehle se itna panic kara diya. Now you're saying, don't worry, don't worry. Then I realized when I was on the way back home that the thing began from
Right.
here, right? So, of course, with children who are born with certain things or have grown up with certain things, yes, of course, the parents have to go undergo their own things. But yes, if you want to work on the child directly, bars
Yes.
is your first go-to. Then we can give you
Correct.
certain clearings and statements that you can use with the child. And we have some audios also,
Exactly.
but that's not a part of access. But yeah, we can help you on a
Right.
different note as well with access. Like you keep running the bars, but we also give you some audios that you can play with the child because the
Okay.
child can hear it and just go off to sleep. So that also
Okay. So
works
this
in
is
a
for
very good
all
light.
my friends who are there in Pune. If you need any help or any more detail, reach out to Kritika. You can contact me. I'll share her number with you. And she frequently travels to Ahmedabad also. So
Definitely.
if you are there in Ahmedabad,
I'm coming to
okay,
Delhi
cool.
also, Shailendra.
Always welcome. Come here.
So I will definitely. I'd love to swap with you when I come.
100% we'll meet up. Cool. It was a lovely
Definitely.
talking to you, Kritika.
And before you end, I have a surprise for you. I wanted to
Oh,
channel a
great.
message for you. So I have kept my cards ready, and I'm going to give a
Thank
message
you
for
so
you,
much.
Shailendra, first, and
I'm
of course
super
for all
excited.
the
This
viewers
is the
here. So
best
let
part.
me see. Yeah, because it's seven
Yes.
seven, right? So I just wanted to end on a good happy note for you. So let's see what
Yes.
has come for you. Wow, 7-7, and you have Serapis Bay, who's here to tell you that your ascension is on and that you need to move into your true self, rise above the darkness because, or rise above the fears because your fears are
Yes.
holding you back. That's only because you're passing through the tunnel which is dark, and at
Correct.
the end of the tunnel there is light. So you have you
Great,
have your
great. Thank
answer
you so
right. Your
much.
seven
It
seven
was
has opened up
wonderful,
the portal
amazing.
for
This
you.
is something which is a sheer surprise to me, and I loved it.
So I think from here, I think now I have to take an appointment for a live with you.
I'm there always for you.
And for
Whenever you want,
all
I'll come with.
our, definitely. And for everybody else who's on live, it's a collective message for everybody on 777. So Archangel Hope is here to tell us love
So,
and acceptance. And the message for the collective here is that recognize your divine worth. And I think I began with saying this, that please validate yourself first. And I didn't know that this is going to come up, of course, today. But you need to validate yourself first. You need to
exactly.
believe in yourself first because
Exactly.
remember, love
Yes.
is yours. And the minute you accept and love yourself, uh, you you have, I mean, the entire universe is there behind you to work for you. So
Great,
believe
great,
in that.
great. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Kritika. Thank you so much.
So I hope that this
Exactly.
contributed to everybody who watched us, and I'm looking forward to more of these because I'm sure people there's lots
Yes.
that people still can
Yes.
get from us.
Right.
So
And definitely, I'll save this live on my page. So if someone wants to go
sure,
back and
sure,
visit, what questions did you suggested them to ask? They can go and refer back. They can make a note and they can start practicing those things. So
absolutely,
great.
absolutely, absolutely. And if there's anything else, you can just drop in a message, guys,
Yes.
to Shailendra or me. We'll
Correct.
be happy to connect on a
Correct.
personal level
Thank
with
you
you
so much,
guys.
Kritika. It was wonderful. And thank
Thank
you
you.
everyone for
Bye.
joining this
Yes.
call. Amazing. Have a great day and take care. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye, guys. See you.